Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, August the 1st. Yes, it is the 1st of August today, another month down. It just seems like the year's flown, hasn't it? What are we, about a month away from the footy finals, and then before we know it, we'll be into Christmas and New Year and into a new year next year. But anyway, it is what it is, and you can almost you actually feel the weather just starting to lift a little bit at the moment. It's not as cold in the morning. That crispness of the air is sort of gone, and won't be long before we're into spring, and then complaining about how hot it is. It seems to be the way, doesn't it? All right, on this day, August the 1st, let's go back to, where are we? 1976. In South Korea, Panama's Rigoberto Riasco defended the World Super Bantam, so 122-pound title, defeating Dong Kyun Yum on points. I'll go back to that one in a second. 1988, Colombia's Miguel Happy Laura defended the World 118-pound title, the bantamweight title, by defeating Alberto Davila on points. That was in Inglewood, California. 1992, Mexico's Julio Cesar Chavez knocked out Frankie Mitchell in the 4th round to defend the World 140-pound title. That was in Las Vegas, Nevada. 1994, Russia's Yuri Avachekov knocked out Hugo Skoto in the 8th round in Japan for the World Flyweight title. In 2009, Devon Alexander. Whatever happened to Devon Alexander? He was one of the best fighters in the world there at one stage. I know he had a couple of losses. I think Amir Khan beat him. Who else beat him? He lost a couple of fights, but he was one of the better fighters in the world at one stage. Well, he knocked out Britain's Junior Witter in 8 rounds in California. Back in, as I said, 2009. That was for the World Super Lightweight or 140-pound title. And this one, 1987, Mike Tyson unified the World Heavyweight title against Tony Tucker. He took the IBF belt from Tony Tucker. He already had the WBA and WBC belts. And this was probably at a time, now even though Mike would have been, 21 years of age, this was peak Mike Tyson. This was Mike Tyson when he was, as Miley Cyrus would say, a wrecking ball. He really was. He'd won the title the WBC title in November of 1986. And then he fought Bone Crusher Smith. It might have been in like March or something like that for the WBA belt. Then he beat Pinklon Thomas a couple of months later to defend the WBA and WBC belts. Then fought Tucker on this day in 1987, and then would follow up with another fight at the end of the year against Tyrell Biggs. So in the space of a year, 5 fights? Just amazing. Come here, bud. And as I said, this was at a time when he really was on a tear. Get off the fence here, bud. Morning, how you doing? Come here, man. Oh, no. So with this fight especially, I mean, we'd had the disappointing fight with Bone Crusher earlier in the year, and sort of left a bit of a sour taste in people's mouths. And the Pinklon Thomas fight had sort of, just cleansed that a little bit, because it was a brutal six round knockout. Now you remember that Bone Crusher took Tyson the 12 rounds, just didn't want to fight, didn't want to engage. Pinklon Thomas did, and don't forget, Pinklon Thomas was a very well-respected fighter, former WBC champion, had lost that belt to Trevor Berbick in a big upset. But this was the fight where Mike Tyson was really expected to get one of his biggest tests against Tony Tucker, who was a really respected fighter. He'd won that IBF belt, by the way, over James Buster Douglas with a 10th round knockout. And he was expected to give Mike a real test. The disappointing thing about this fight was that, like Bone Crusher Smith, he just did not want to win the fight. He just boxed and moved and held, and that was probably the disappointing thing. And There's probably a bit of an argument for those that said that Michael was a little bit overrated back in the day, because there was a little bit of the Canelo syndrome at the moment, where he's fighting fighters who, a lot of them are gifted, but they just almost accept their fate before they get in there, and they just go into survival mode. And that was a little bit like Mike at the time. And Mike, I remember watching the fight being really disappointed. I mean, I was only, 14 years of age. I was young, but I was really disappointed that Tony Tucker, who I had a lot of respect for and thought he would give Mike Tyson a really good fight, just didn't turn up. Now he went on to had some okay fights, Tony Tucker, but never really reached the heights that we all thought he might. And after this fight, Mike would beat Tyrell Biggs. So I'm just going to go through them. So he beat Berbick, he beat Smith, he beat Thomas, he beat Tony Tucker, and then he beat Tyrell Biggs there. So 5 fights in the space of a year. Now try doing that these days. And when you think about it too, that, what was it, the start of 88, he beat Tony Tubbs, Larry Holmes, and then Michael Spink. So in the space of 18 months, he had 8 fights. And I suppose in the equivalence of these days, it will be literally like wiping out the likes of Usyk, Fury, Joshua, White, Dubois, literally cleaning out the division in the space of 18 months. Just an amazing feat. And that's probably why, I know I've had a little bit of a rant about Mike Tyson a few times on this channel, but that's why I still regard Mike Tyson as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Now, after the Spinks fight, it all went downhill, because he beat Frank Bruno, then Carl the Truth Williams, and then was beaten by Douglas. But in this stretch here, even though he was 21 years of age, put that in perspective, 21 years of age, and he beat the 8 best heavyweights in the division in the space of 18 months. That's why, as I said, I've got him as one of the greatest of all time, and I don't care what happened later in his career. At that time, he was the man. All right, what else is going on in the boxing world at the moment? Now, the No Limit card on August 20th. I've just seen they've updated the card, and it looks like Ahmed Reda has got a fight and Jazzy Parr's got a fight. Now, Jazzy Parr, I haven't got it there. I think she's fighting an Indonesian girl. 8-0, so I don't know anything about her. I'm not going to say anything about the fight until probably after the fight. I'm not hoping for an easy kill for Jazzy. Of course, I hope she wins, but I'm really hoping that she gets a test. Now, if she's not wanting to fight the likes of Shannon O'Connell again and avenge that loss that she kept saying was a rip-off, and she won every round and all this sort of stuff, well, you've had the opportunity to fight Shannon. You don't want to do it, so I want to see you fight someone competitive. Now, this girl from Indonesia, 8 wins and a draw, I think she's had. So the only thing I've seen so far with a quick look at her box rec is that I think they're all girls from Indonesia as well. I'm not quite sure how deep the girls go in Indonesia, but hey, she's 8-0, so let's give her a chance. I'm hoping that she gives Jazzy a test, because she's at the stage of her career where she needs to have some tests. And if she's not going to fight Shannon, then at least fight girls that are going to develop her and take her forward. The other one on there was Ahmed Reda. Now, this is the intriguing one. This is the one that really sort of pricked my attention, because he's fighting Bruno Tarimo. Now, if you don't know much about Bruno Tarimo, I've got his record here, actually. Very, very experienced. He is... geez, don't you hate that when that happens? I've just lost his record. It's just vanished. 35 fights, I think he's had, and fought a lot of really good fighters. Come here, bros. And I think he's had 3 wins on the trot now, but he fought the likes, I think he had a technical draw against Paul Fleming. He's beat the likes of Joel Brunker. How you doing? Who else did he fight? Kai McKenzie, when Kai was travelling along really well. Nathaniel May, he's beaten Nathaniel May, so he's got a really, really good record. Now, he's had a couple of setbacks. One of them was against Takai, who took Jason Maloney's world title. Now, he lost to him, I think it might have been about 3 years ago now. So he's a very, very good fighter, and it was a real spoiler for those young, well, not young, but a lot of those up-and-coming Australian fighters at one stage. As I said, Paul Fleming, that was a draw, but still that would have been a really good fight. It was looking like anyway. But Paul Fleming, Kai McKenzie, Nathaniel May, Joel Brunker really upset the apple cart for all those fighters. So it's a risky fight for Ahmed Redder, who's, I think, he had 6-7 fights or something like that. I've got to take the hat off to the young kid. I've been a little bit critical of him for probably lipping off before he's sort of done anything, but I also get that to get the fight, you have to do that. I understand that. I thought he was actually quite good the other day in his press conference. I thought he spoke really well. But that's a risky fight for Ahmed Redder. So again, credit to him for actually taking that fight. The rest of the card looks okay, just looks okay. But all will be revealed, I suppose, on August 20th of how much those fighters that are fighting, Nikita and Michael, measure up. All right, the other thing that I saw this morning, and I'm sure you've all seen at some stage as well, or you will see today, is Oscar De La Hoya's clapback. The clapback Thursdays, getting stuck into the TKO boxing. Now, I've been a bit hesitant to sort of comment too much about this. It seems to be in the news every day, and I've had a couple of people ask me my opinion. I haven't commented because I don't fully understand it. All I know is, and Oscar actually put it in the context pretty well this morning, all it was sort of put into practice for, this is in the year 2000, so 25 years ago, was to protect the fighters. Now, fighters don't get protected that much in the sport. We know that. There's no unions or anything like that to help them out. But the Ali Act was brought in to protect the rights and minimum payments and all these different things anyway. Again, I'm not going to pretend to know all about it. I'm just sort of skimming the surface. But it was brought in to protect the fighters, and until now, no one has batted an eyelid about it. All promoters have accepted what it's there for. They've abided by it. Oscar and Eddie Hearn have both said that they fully support the act. I'm sure people like Frank Warren and not sure about Turkey, what he thinks about it, because obviously this is his operation. But the main promoters out there, Bob Arams of the world, have always accepted the Muhammad Ali Act and respected it, and we've never had an issue with it. Fighters, promoters, no one has ever had an issue with it or challenged it or nothing. It's just been there, and everyone's abided by it and got along quite fine. Now you've got Dana White and TKO Boxing coming in, in conjunction with Turki Al Sheikh, wanting to change certain facets about it. Now, on the surface, you look at it and go, oh, well, maybe they're trying to change things to protect the fighters even more. The way Oscar described it, I've got to sort of back him on this. He made a lot of sense with it. And he said what they're trying to do, like $150 minimum a round. Surely fighters do not get paid $150 or less than $150 a round now. I mean, when I was promoting 10 years ago when I first started, the minimum was $400 a round. And that was back then for like a 4-rounder. So to think they're trying to bring in something like that, that's not the be-all and end-all of it. Excuse me, but what the alarm bells are ringing, and Oscar said that the red flags are definitely there, that they're trying to bring it down so it suits the UFC model. Now, in the UFC, they have full control. It is 100% a monopoly, and the fighters basically have no rights, and they've been sued over it by different fighters. They've had class action suits, whatever they call, against the UFC, and that doesn't bode well for the structure of their organisation. And now they're going to try and bring that into boxing. And when you've got very, very experienced people like Oscar De La Hoya saying it's a bad idea, Eddie Hearn was against as well. I haven't really heard anything from the likes of Bob Arum or Frank Warren, but I'm sure they would be against it as well. Actually, it wouldn't affect Frank Warren, would it? Because it's an American thing. And Eddie Hearn to some extent, but he does have a lot of interest in American boxing. So, yeah, the way he explained it, if you haven't seen, I'm not going to try and pretend to understand it and explain it to you, but just jump on his Instagram, and normally he obviously throws in a few little barbs and his little clips of movies that he throws in to back up his point. But take all that out and just have a look at it and listen to what he has to say, because it made a lot of sense. Now, here in Australia, we don't have to worry about that, so I've never really been across it. But when you've got people like Oscar De La Hoya quite seriously saying, hey, this is bad for boxing, and this highlights what a scumbag Dana White is and what he's trying to do and exploit the boxers out there that have been protected for so long, I think you've got to take notice. So go to his Instagram and have a look, and you can have a look for yourself. All right, now quickly, well, not quickly, we're going to go through the rankings, where the current Aussies are at the moment. Now, I'll just quickly go through it. There's not, strangely enough, there's a few, well, there's not as many Aussies in there that I thought there would be. We'll go through them. Heavyweight, don't think there was anyone at heavyweight. Of course, we've got Justice Honey. Actually, I don't think Justice, there he is. He's ranked number 14 with the WBC. He's ranked 12 with the WBA, and I think that's it at the moment. But these rankings, they're pretty much the month of July. They sort of fluctuate of what week, but pretty much the month of July. So Justice Honey, when I say 14 with the WBC and 12 with the WBA. Cruiserweight, of course, we've got Jai as the IBF champion. Light heavyweight, Connor Wallace will claim him. Number 2 with the IBF. It will claim this guy as well. Iman Kataev, he's number 10 with the WBA. And I think that is it. Not sure. Yeah, Connor Wallace is 6 with the WBO as well, but it's that the IBF is the one that matters the most, because if Bivol gets stripped like it looks like he might, then Connor Wallace might have that opportunity. Super middleweight, I don't think we had anyone there. I did have a quick look, but no, nothing there. Middleweight, now this is interesting. Michael Zarafa, number 15 with the IBF, number 8 with the WBA, number 11 with the WBO, not ranked with the WBC, is Michael Zarafa. So look, with the fear of upsetting Michael Zarafa there again, I'll just say I don't know how you've achieved those rankings with the opponents you've beat. Don't know. But anyway, good on him. Hopefully he gets another shot at some stage. Now, 154. This is, I just said that was interesting. This is even more interesting. Tim Tszyu not ranked. Well, sorry, I take that back. He's ranked number 3 with the WBC, but not ranked with the other 3 organisations at all. And this is before his fight with Sebastian Fundora. The odds are he might actually exit the WBC rankings and not be rated at all by any of the sanctioning bodies. Strangely enough, his little brother Nikita is ranked 15 with the WBO. And where else did I see him? I thought it was the IBF. Oh, yeah, there he is, number 11 with the IBF. And I don't think we've got anyone else ranked at 154. So Tim with a little bit of work to do there. But look, all it takes, as we've seen with Michael there with his rankings, all it will take for Tim is to have a comeback fight or two, and he'll be probably top 10 of all the organisations. So not much to worry about there. Welterweight, well, Liam Paro, he's actually ranked number 3, well, technically number 1 with the IBF at 140 because there's no one rated above him, but he is ranked 3. The other 2 are vacant. And I think he was there 4 with the WBO. Now, he's obviously now moved to welterweight, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with his ratings now that he's alerted the sanctioning bodies that he's going to 147. What had some great fights there for him. I did mention yesterday Ben and Barrios and Pacquiao and Garcia and Ramiro, but I didn't even throw in the likes of Brian Norman and Devin Haney. So some great fights to be had there for him. So I'll be interested to see where he gets ranked. At 140, George Kambosos long gone now from the IBF rankings. He's no longer there, and no one else. Yes, I did. This is the interesting one. That's at lightweight. John Manu, the Aussie Victorian fighter that's been just quietly going about his work, is now ranked at number 13 with the IBF. That is fantastic for John Manu. Actually promoted John a couple of times back in the day. So he's just snuck into the ratings there at number 13. So good on him. Lightweight, no one there at 130. We have Liam Wilson at 11 with the IBF. And he's also ranked number 4 with the WBO. Featherweight, well, Sam Goodman now is going to be fighting Nick Ball. So he's out of the 122-pound ratings. At 118. Now, I thought Jason Maloney might have been ranked a bit higher. I mean, he's lost a couple of close fights his last couple of times out, but not ranked with the WBO, which I thought is unusual. But he's ranked 9 with the WBC. That's the highest he's got. And then his brother, Andrew Maloney, 4 with the IBF. Now he's fighting the Eliminator with RG Cortez in a week or so. I think it's next weekend, I think it is. But they are 3 and 4, but the 1 and 2 are vacant, so technically they are 1 and 2. Now he's ranked number 3 with the WBC, and also number 2 with the WBO. So a lot of options for Andrew Maloney. So lots going on with the Aussies. Now, just quickly, I will go through the top 10. I'll just cross the road here with Neil. This is our little crossing point to go home. Where are we? We'll just wait here for a sec. Come here, man. Come here. Absolutely no road sense, this dog. He's got cars coming from both directions, but he wants to go. Hang on, buddy. Hang on. We're almost there. Almost there. We'll let this car go. Yep, any old time now. All right. We'll go through the Aussie top 10. I sort of quickly did this a couple of weeks ago when I had the boys on for the Talking Boxing. But I'll go through it now and see what you guys think. All right, number 10, I have Nikita Tszyu. At number 9, I have Liam Wilson. At number 8, I have Tim Tszyu. Can you believe that Tim Tszyu is number 8? Number 7, I have Andrew Maloney. At number 6, I have Sam Goodman. At number 5, I have stuffed that up because I've got Tim in there again. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll take that back. I had Michael Zarafa at 10, Nikita Tszyu at 9, Liam Wilson at 8, Tim Tszyu at 7, Andrew Maloney at 6, Sam Goodman at 5, Justice Honey at 4, Jason Maloney at 3, Liam Paro at 2, and Jai Pataya at number 1. So just again, I'll quickly run through them. So Jai Pataya 1, Liam Paro 2, Jason Maloney 3, Justice Honey 4, Tim Tszyu 5, Sam Goodman 6. No, I didn't have Tim Tszyu in there, sorry. What a morning. Opataya 1, Liam Paro 2, Jason Maloney 3, Justice Honey 4, Sam Goodman 5, Andrew Maloney 6, Tim Tszyu 7, Liam Wilson 8, Nikita Tszyu 9, Michael Zarafa number 10. Now, you might say, why isn't someone like Matteo Tapia in there? I just still think, look, he's a great talent. He's one of the main ones I'm sure will come up why he's not in there. I'm just not convinced, if I'm being honest, with Matteo Tapia. Shows a lot. I just think he struggled when he stepped up, and I'm just not sure until he actually has a good win at the level. And you might say, well, hang on, you put Nikita Tszyu in there. I just think Nikita Tszyu's the more talented fighter with more upside. Lots of criteria have to go into this, by the way, to decide. Now, if they fought tomorrow, would Matteo Tapia beat Nikita? Well, who knows? But I'm just not sold on Matteo Tapia, whether he's got what it takes to win at the top level, where I think Nikita, with a few little tweaks here and there and a bit more experience and maybe a change of trainer, I don't know, could be the real deal. That's why I put him in there. Michael Zarafa, you could probably also argue with Matteo Tapia. That's very, very line ball for me. And you might say, well, hang on, you've got Nikita ahead of Michael Zarafa as well. Again, Michael Zarafa, I just don't think, well, I mean, he had probably his career best win back in, well, not his career best win, Jeff Horner's career best win back in 2019. He had the really good win over Isaac Hardman in 2022, but really since then hasn't had a defining win. He was obviously knocked out by Lara, but the fights he's had since Lara, for me, have done absolutely nothing for him as far as his standing goes. I think, if anything, it's sort of set him back a little bit, because the fighters he's fought have been nowhere near world level. Then this next guy, well, we'll see. Maybe that'll change my mind, but that's the reason why I've got him in. But having said that, I think his resume is just a little bit better than Matteo Tapia. Again, if they fought tomorrow, who would win? Well, again, it's line ball. But you can only have 10 in there, and that's why I've gone for those guys. Now, you might say also as well, why is Tim at, what did I say, number 8? Well, geez, I know he's been at the level for quite some time, but it was probably the way he lost those fights, not with Murtazaliev and Fundora, not necessarily the fights themselves. The way he lost were very, very bad. So he's got. I just think Andrew Malone, I think's gone. Well, he's fighting potentially for a world title. I just think Andrew is still, or hasn't had those types of losses. I know he was stopped by Nakatani, but geez, that was a hard, tough 12 rounds. Goodman, of course, he's got the world title fight coming up. None of those guys have probably got the resume of Tim, but how can you have Tim high now after those two really bad knockout losses that he's had in the last sort of 12 months? So, and I think Jason Maloney has done nothing to change his standing in the sport. He's lost 2 close decisions over in Japan. I still think he's very much world class. Paro and Opatai just speak for themselves, and Huni, well, did everything except win that fight, didn't he? But he showed what a tremendous talent that he was. Now I know everyone's got their own criteria on how they rank the Australian fighters, but that's just mine. Give us your opinions on what you think. I'm sure you will. Just do it respectfully. That's all I ask. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this Friday. Have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow.